Joe Cortez. You know him?
Yes.
You know he read over 1,000 fights in his career?
Well, he's fair, but he's firm.
That's true. And 170 are world titles.
Not only that, but he had an amateur and a pro career, and he was a judge. And he's been in there with some of the greatest fighters of all time. So maybe we should let's get into it.
Let's talk to him, yo. Let's do it.
Welcome to the champ and the chump.
And who's the chump?
You.
Me. Welcome to our show, people.
There he is.
There you. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, everything going good here.
Todo bien. ¿Dónde vivo?
Okay, here in Las Vegas.
That's great. I'm glad you got better from the COVID. Sorry you went through that.
So, rumor street, you had 100. You refereed 170 fights.
Around there, 175 on there. Championship fight.
Wow.
Championship fight. I did close to 1,000 fights, but championship fights 176.
Wow. So
and there's a lot I'm not putting in there because those other little Mickey Mouse organizations, sanctioning bodies, I don't count those.
You don't count those. You count
BC, International, and all these kind of different sanctioning bodies. I only go with the four major ones, and you know who they are.
Yeah, we know.
A lot of people don't know that you were an amateur boxer, and then you had a professional career as well.
Right.
You won the Golden Gloves a few times as an amateur, correct?
I won the Golden Gloves. Novice, I won the Open. I won the Eastern. I won the Nationals. And I won the two Spanish Golden Gloves. 18-1 record as a pro. Barkley got me for 10-1. There's some fights that I had in Mexico that were never recorded. But I'll take it either way. I only had one loss in the pros.
Well, let me jump back a second. You grew up where?
In New York, Spanish Harlem, New York. Born and raised there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Hell's Kitchen. And I read that you had gone back to live in Puerto Rico for a little bit, right, before coming back?
After I got married, I went to Puerto Rico. I lived there for 8 years. When I was, I had retired from pros because I wasn't going nowhere to the pros. I decided to pack it in and do something else, and I got into the hospitality business. And that's where it all started. I met a guest, and he's what I planted the seed in my head about becoming a referee. When I came back to New York, Pat Mashier, who used to referee my fights at the Golden Glove, he was a guest at the hotel. And when I got back to New York in 77, actually December 76, then 77, he said, Joe, get involved with the amateurs. So I got involved with the amateurs, and 6 months later, Frank Morris, the deputy commissioner of the New York State Athletic Commission, recommended that I turn pro. I said, well, I've only been doing this 6 months. He said, Joe, you got the talent. We're going to work with you with the preliminary fights. Every show we have in New York, we'll be working the undercard to get you polished up. And that's where all.
Wow.
6 months after I started the amateurs, I'm already the pros.
Wow. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Sometimes I got to pinch myself. I can't believe it.
Why did the pro career, why'd you only do it for a few years?
Was that as a referee?
No, I'm kind of going back. As a fighter, how come you only fought for a couple of years and then kind of stopped?
I was getting up to that was a bantamweight, featherweight. And back in the 60s, there was really not that much happening in my weight class in the East Coast. So I decided that, I got kind of discouraged because I wasn't getting the opportunities. I had to travel to Mexico, went to Hawaii, and with different places to get fights. It wasn't paying off. And I was already, like I said, I had 2 kids, and I said I have to get something going seriously for my family, and that's what happened. So I started going with the amateurs and go right into the pros. Not that much.
Oh, okay.
How many fights did really took a lot of you to referee?
To tell you the truth, I did 5 years in the pros before I got my first world title fight. So I refereed, maybe about 100 some odd preliminary fights before I got to do my first world title fight, and that was against Aaron Pryor and Miguel Montilla. So for me, that was an honor refereeing Aaron Pryor, my first world title fight.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
5 years into it. 5 years into the pros, that wasn't bad.
So what does it take as far not what does it take to become a really good referee? Like the things you see, the things you don't. I mean, that you let go. Because I mean, you refereed me once, and you refereed me. I mean, a lot of other people 1,000 times. But you know, I would pick if they gave me a choice when I was picking. If we could pick referees, I would have. You know, there's only one of maybe three that I would pick. One, you, Richard, or Cortez, or the other guy. McKenzie.
You remember refereeing Jeremy?
Well, you know, Martin McKenzie was one of my mentors. You know, one of the things you asked me, what does it take to be a good referee? Well, you got to have a mentor, somebody out there that you look up to and you follow their footsteps. And Arthur McKenzie was one of them, and Zach Clayton was the other. Those two referees really tried to help me, to guide me through. I remember one time Arthur McKenzie said, "Joe, you're moving too fast in that ring. You got to slow up a little bit." You know, but you know, I was so excited. I was so excited to be in that ring. I was constantly moving. He said, "Slow it down, Joe. Slow it down. Lower the pace." And I did, you know, and that made me a better referee.
Wow. We actually interviewed Mercanti's son, Junior.
Yes.
He's accomplished. Do you remember reffing Jeremy's fight?
Jeremy Williams?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes, I do. You know, he was a guy that I felt that had potential to go all the way, become a world champion. He was a puncher. He had a punch. You know, and I don't know what happened in his career later on, but I refereed, I think, one or two of his fights.
Yeah, I ended up winning the WBU title, none of the other ones, world title. Then I quit. I said I quit, I retired. It was like, you know, done is done. So I retired with a WBU world title.
Yeah, well, you did okay. I mean, you can always say I won a world championship fight. You know, you did it. You still got your marbles together, you know.
Yeah,
I got most of them.
Yeah.
No, yo no tengo todo, pero que la vas a.
So you're doing good for yourself. I'm very proud of you because you've made a great accomplishment. And here you are now interviewing me, and I'm sure other celebrities out there in the boxing world. But fighters like you know, you were kept yourself in good shape. You were nice and lean and mean. You had it all.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think Jeremy.
It's not about you.
Yeah. So I want to, for people watching, I just want to do this quickly. These are the fights that you refed that I think stand out. I'm gonna do this quickly. Tyson versus Holmes, Duran versus Barkley, Bowe versus Holyfield I, Foreman versus Moore, which is, you know, a huge upset. Mayweather versus Ortiz, which had that famous, you know, he hit him when he was apologizing. Chavez versus Haugen, which was in front of about 135,000 people, which I'm curious to see how that felt. De La Hoya versus Chavez, the young lion taking out the old lion. Foreman versus Cooney. McClellan versus Julian Jackson, which was one of the biggest bomb fests. Whitaker Chavez, which was a robbery. Leonard versus Camacho. Morales versus Pacquiao. Prince Nassim versus Barrera, which was Prince's only loss. And Jeremy Williams versus Marcus Rode.
How about yourself, man? I never did you.
No, you never did me. Mercanti did me, but no, you didn't. So I was going to ask you, you know, out of all your fights, and I know this is really hard for you to kind of think back to or even pull out an answer, but is there any one or two or three fights that were just really stand out in your mind?
Well, you mentioned a few of them. One of them was Duran, and I ran Barkley. I mean, that was a war.
That was a war. I remember watching that.
That was a hell of a fight. There was 3 feet of snow outside that day. I remember driving out there with Tom Casino, who was a photographer. I think he's with Showtime now. And I used to pick him up he was a young man at the time. I used to pick him up. He didn't have a...
Oh, it froze.
And then after the show, we dropped him back home. I used to live in Hackensack. And I tell you, I really enjoyed doing that fight. That was a big fight.
Okay.
It was well go. The place was sold out. And Barkley met somebody in front of him that didn't want to give up. And, you know, Roberto Duran, Manos de Piedras, had the knockout punch. He had a good chin. And, you know, but he was 35 years young. Because I can't say old, because he didn't feel like an old man that night. He felt like a young man. And, you know, he had it all. And he came out victorious that night. We did a middleweight championship of the world.
Wow. And
so as you're becoming a better and better referee, what kind of a routine would you do before you got in the ring with working the show?
Well, you know, it's funny you asked that question because yesterday, Sunday, I had Celestino Ruiz, RUIZ for Chicago, who's now a resident in Nevada, and I got him under my wing, just like I do with Mike Ortega and other referees out there that I've been working with. But I got Celestino Ruiz, a good referee. He did his first world title fight here in Vegas. He's done title fights before, but in Vegas last Saturday night, he did his first world title fight. That was Shakar Stevenson. And I told him, come on over, I want to go over a couple of things with you. And I referenced to your work last night. So he came over and we sat down, we put on the replay of the fight that I recorded. And we went over things. And, you know, pretty decent job. You know, there's a lot of stepping on each other's foot. And he was warning the fighters. And we have worked out a couple of things that I think he needed a little bit of advice on. But let me tell you, as a veteran that I've been in boxing when I was active, I mean, these young referees got a lot of talent. They show me that they're willing to go all the way, and they will.
Wow. Okay.
What part of your pre-fight ritual, like I'm sure, like everybody warms up. What would you do to warm up for the fight?
Well, one thing that referee have to do, we have to study. You have to do your homework.
Right.
Know the fighters that you're going to be refereeing that night. Make sure you pick up any habits that they may have, whether they're good or bad. You want to make sure that you know their habits. But when you go into that dressing room, you will know that when the referee goes into the dressing room to give you the pre-fight instructions, we want to make sure you're listening because I want to make my fight easier for me as a referee. If I don't give you the proper commands or the rules, it could be a lopsided fight where I let the fight get out of control. The fighters are low blows, headbutting each other, hitting each other, when they get down on the canvas. A lot of things can go wrong in a fight. So the referee has to take control back in the dressing room before he comes out into the ring. So one of the things we do is practice our duties and the rules and whatnot. Then now what we do is we get all the referees together. Let's say it's 3 or 4 referees working a particular card. We sit down together before the show and we go over certain rules just to refresh our memory. Just like you see baseball, football, basketball, hockey, any team that's out there, what do? They warm up before the game. Well, we got to warm up as referees. And the judges as well. They do that in Nevada. They'll get together. They have a little powwow meeting together to discuss anything that may go wrong or how we're going to score a round and 2 fighters get knocked out in the same round. Different things, you know. Because how do you score that round, you know? So there are little things like that we brought. Those are the rituals that I do, and now I recommend other young referees out there to do as well.
So you touched on something. You were a judge as well, which I think a lot of people don't know.
Yes.
The 2 fights that stood out to me were you judged. You had Holmes beating Spinks, which I think you were the only one, right?
Right.
And you did Holmes versus Spinks, and then you did Duran versus Leonard 3, correct?
Yeah, but I also did Hagler too.
Hagler, right. Yeah, you did.
The fight I did Holmes and Spinks as a judge, and those fights, that was crucial because back in the day when I started refereeing, there were only 2 judges, and the referee was the 3rd judge. You see, so I had to score and referee simultaneously. So it wasn't that easy. But that's what we polished up a lot. That's what I got chosen to be a judge was because they looked at my scoring throughout the years, I scored for 10 years in the pros. So when they looked at my scoring, they said, Joe will be the perfect referee for this fight. So they called me out to Vegas when I did the Holmes and Spinks, and which I gave the fight to Holmes, and the other two judges gave it to Spinks. I thought I screwed up, but the commission said, no, Joe, you were pretty accurate with the scoring. They're not booing you, they're booing the other two officials. But anyway, you got to take the good with the bad. But yeah. I was on top that night, and then they called me back to do the Lennon and Duran fight here in Vegas. Those two fights, I was a scoring official. And then I had me coming out to do Jeff Fennick, Asuma Nelson as a referee, and Gray Page, and I forgot his opponent. They called me to do that fight. I was also as a referee. Then that's where the doors open up. They like my performance. They say, Joe, would you like to be one of our referees in Las Vegas? We got Mills Lanes, we got Richard Steele, and we got Carlos Padilla and David Pearl. And they said, we'd like to have you part of the team. And I made a move a year later.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's good.
I did 20 years in Vegas. I did 20 years in Vegas and 15 back in New York and New Jersey. 35 total.
How and when did your famous "I'm fair but I'm firm" come about? Can you tell us about that?
One day I was at an interview like we are right now, and somebody said, Joe, what does it take to be a good referee? I mean, to be on top of your game. I said, well, one of the things that you gotta be fair with the fighters. You know, you don't want them to lose a fight, but you also gotta be firm. Make sure you don't take no nonsense from that, so you lose control of the fight. So when I watched the replay, I'm fair, but I'm firm. But you gotta be firm. So I started playing with it. I said, fair but firm. I'm fair but I'm firm. I said, you know what? I like that. I'm gonna win, and I got a copyright. Actually patent and copyright, take it back, copyright. And Sylvester Stallone, Eddie Murphy, when I did movies with those guys, they say, Joe, you have to say, I'm fair, but I'm firm in the movie. You know, and especially Sylvester Stallone. They say, Joe, make sure you say I'm fair, but I'm firm. That's what I want you to do. And I did it. You know? And
you got to
pay people, hey, that was a good movie. You have a speaking part. Anytime you have a speaking part in a movie, yeah, it's a paid position.
Yeah, that was a Rocky Balboa you're referring to.
Oh, yeah, very good one. And you believe checks are still coming in.
That's great.
Yeah, when you become a member of the guild, you know, you have you got to have a speaking part. If you're an extra, you get paid one time. If you have a speaking part, checks go on forever.
Every that movie plays, you get a check.
You get a check, but you don't get them as big as you do at the beginning.
Yeah, but they come. It's mailbox.
Did you
they got them overseas in Europe. They got them in Asia. They translate them, but you know, it's still in the movie. In those movies they count, and then when they come by, they tie them up worldwide, and they get a little check in the mail. Say, oh wow! One time I had to call them up and say, listen, I think you guys are making a mistake. And the guy said, no, Mr. Cortez, all the Rocky movies, they pay very well. So for many years, you'll be getting checked. Thanks a lot. And when I saw Sylvester not too long ago, last year, I said, hey, Sylvester, thanks again, buddy, for the part. It's still paying off. Yeah.
That's great, man. So did you have, when you're all these years refereeing, was that your only job? Because we spoke with Mercanti, and I think he has actually, Mercanti Jr., he's a stagehand, so he actually has another job as well as being a ref. Did you just ref, or did you do other things?
No. Yeah, just ref is not going to be enough for you to live off. At least not for me. But no, I've been in the field of ophthalmology. I had one of the healthcare, helping seniors survive from going blind. And so I had my own company, and I work with doctors. And we did screening programs in Chicago, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Nevada. And it was a very, very interesting job because I was able to help out with business management with doctors in their office, getting the staff together to perform these screening programs. And I remember I got 3 keys to 3 cities: one, Cicero, Illinois, and New Jersey, and what's the other one from?
Oh wow!
Anyway, I got 3 keys to 3 cities, for my performance out there working with the seniors. So, it's very rewarding, and you always got to pay it forward. I mean, I came down with COVID, and people were like, Joe, how was it? COVID was terrible. One of the worst things you can go through in life. The thing is that they put you on these meds, and I gotta apologize to some people out there that may be watching. I offended a lot of people because I would say things to them that I don't even remember. I mean, you taking these steroids, you start hallucinating, and you start thinking everybody. You start thinking that people are your enemies. And you see, I mean, it got to the point I would call up people and I would tell them off. And they say, Joe, you called me. I mean, after I got out of the hospital about a month ago, they say, I told you that? They said, Joe, but you told me that. But we knew that wasn't you. But that was all the steroids. I lost a lot of friends. Not I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of, I gotta say, not friends, but I lost the love that I had for the people out there. I lost it not because of me. I think it's because I got a lot of people upset. They say, how could Joe call us and tell us all these nasty things? It sounds like Joe, but we know it's not Joe. And I mean, I offended a lot of loved ones. I said things that I probably didn't even know I was saying. I mean, when you get on this medication with COVID and you're a different person, sometimes I feel like I was on another planet looking back now. Now, thank God I'm back to normal. I got my head back together. But it's been tough. Let me tell you, I've lost loved ones. I've lost good friends. I think maybe because of things that I might have said. I may be wrong, but if they're listening, I apologize because I'm human. And that COVID is the worst enemy anybody can have. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. Wow. It's very, very bad.
Marco's COVID.
What's that?
Marco's wife gave me COVID when I was in New York.
Is that right?
Other way around. He brought it on an airplane from California to us, but that's a whole different story.
I'm gonna go with Nana, his wife. See, I gave her a hug and a kiss when we were in New York, and the next day I'm sick.
Yeah, we all had it as well.
But thank God you guys had the light one. That you didn't have the one that I was stuck in the hospital for 5 solid months.
Damn.
That's how bad it was. I mean, I didn't think I was going to make it, and I just kept praying to God and all my friends out there and loved ones that were praying for me. It made me get through it. But it was tough. 5 months in the hospital and under the medications and whatnot. I tell you, it was the worst sickness I've ever had. And I've always been healthy. I've always kept myself strong. I lost 40 pounds in the first two and a half months. I lost 40 pounds,
Wow, that's
and so far as I've been out, a month or so, I put out about 18, 19 pounds already. I weigh myself today at 154. That's not too bad compared to 135 or 140. I didn't weigh me back then. But now I'm coming back. I feel good. And you guys out there, you middleweight champions out there, watch out.
Hey, Joe, it was a pleasure talking to you, man. Thank you for coming by for our thing. We'd love to have you back. We're gonna.
We'd love to come back. Tell everybody out there, please take your shots. Those shots are important, and wear your mask. Don't take nothing for granted because when you least expect it, it's going to happen. It happened to me unexpectedly. I don't know where I got it, but you got to protect yourselves at all times.
Let me ask you a question before we sign off. Is there any fighter or a couple fighters in all your years that really stood out to you in the ring, that really just had something that you've just never seen before?
Well, Muhammad Ali, of course, as a heavyweight. You never see a heavyweight like Muhammad Ali.
Well, did you ever wrestle?
Like a butterfly, and he just stayed like a bee. And he was right, because there was nobody. What a heavyweight have you ever seen move around like Muhammad Ali? None. He was the only one that could move with that grace of just floating around, jabbing, combination. He had it all and could take a good shot. And then I would say Sugar Ray Robinson was one of the great ones. And then you had a guy who was not that big, but he retired undefeated, and that was Rocky Marciano. You got to give the guy credit, because he was fighting guys much bigger than him, and he retired undefeated. So you give him credit where it's due.
And what about from the guys that you've actually seen refereeing, like up close?
fighters up close. Obviously, refereeing.
Yeah, that you ref. Does anybody stand out for those?
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Julio Cesar Chavez, Hector Baja Camacho, Oscar de la Hoya. There's been so many great ones, and there's been. I've done 176 world title fights. I could go on down the line, and I forgive me if you guys out there watching. If I forget any of you guys, Michael Moore, Larry Holmes, Mike Tyson. All those guys that I referee were just outstanding.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if anything stood out, because I know you've seen so many fighters. So if it stands out, that means these people were exceptionally exceptional. You know what I mean?
Exactly. They was, Mike Tyson, I referee him coming up the ranks. I referee him 8 times. Mike Tyson had one of the hardest punches and the fastest combinations. He had the speed that you would never think a heavyweight would have, but he had that, and that's why I think Muhammad Ali loved him. He loved Mike Tyson. Muhammad Ali.
Did he?
One day I had Mike Tyson. Hey, Mike, what did Muhammad Ali tell you in your ear when you fought Larry Holmes? I was a referee in Washington. He said, what did he tell you in your ear before the fight? He went in the ring. He came over and told you something. He says, kick his ass. Okay. I guess he wanted to get off. He wanted to get even with what Larry Holmes did to Ali during the training sessions when Ali was already kind of finished,
Right. That's great. Is there any fights that you 2 questions, I guess. First one, is there any fights you could think of that you refereed that you maybe regret the way you handled it?
I look back sometimes, some fights. Not really. There's just some fights. It could have been some changes. I could have made maybe some adjustments. So we use a different ring mechanic. But we after doing 35 years, you can't have a good day every day. Every fight you do can't. And I accept that. If I made some mistakes, I made them. And I'm first to admit it. I have made some mistakes, and that's why I got my referees now. And I talk with these guys. I train them, and I give seminars, and I talk to them, about some mistakes that I made about positioning. If you're in the wrong position, you're on the blind side, you may miss a punch or a low blow or a headbutt that was not intentional. And I might have called it intentional because the angle that I was, if I would have moved over 2 feet more, I would have caught it. But there's a lot of things sometimes. The game is the position of a referee is a position that is a no-win. You can't win. One way, you make a call this way, they criticize you. Make it the other way, they criticize you. But all I know is that I want the fighters to come out of there alive, healthy, safe, and hopefully at the end, they end up with some money so they can take care of their beautiful family, take care of their family.
So, okay. So then I guess there's not one specific fight or whatever that you could think of that you kind of wish, maybe I should have done something differently.
Well, the Victor Ortiz and with
Mayweather.
Victor Ortiz started all with the headbutt. He should have not done that. And then when I called time, he went over to hug Mayweather, gave him a kiss, gave him another kiss. I was, oh my God, then I called time in, and he went to hug it, to apologize. He could put his hands out. When he saw his hands out, Mayweather capitalized on that move. Protect yourself at all times. You don't know what you got. And Victor Ortiz did. Every time I see Victor Ortiz, oh my God, Joe, I apologize for that night. He said, my trainers told me to do that. I would have never headbutted, but my trainer told me to do that. He said, I got rid of all of them. But he's a nice young man, Victor Ortiz, and we're good friends today. And I tell you, sometimes they make mistakes. And I thought maybe if I would have been in a different position, maybe I would have done things a little different.
What would you have done differently?
Well, you really can't, because I couldn't disqualify Mayweather because I already said time in. You can't disqualify the guy. And maybe I should have put them maybe in further corners to let them start to run over again instead of letting them do it when they were so close.
Okay. Wow.
Something I tell the referee, say your fighters in neutral corner, and then you call time in again. And I didn't do that. They were right there, and I want to get the action rolling again. We already lost about 30 seconds already, so I want to try to get it quick as possible. They were right there. I said time in, and they were right there, and that's when Ortiz got clocked.
Yeah, it was such an awkward kind of a situation that you couldn't see coming, right?
Right. And they couldn't see that coming at all. When have you ever seen that? Never. Unless you tell hey, your shoes untied, you look down, and you clock.
Yeah.
You see that street fighting.
Another question, last question I have is, you reffed a lot of fights where the older fighter ended up losing to younger fighters. For example, when Camacho beat the crap out of Leonard. Did you ever feel bad watching, old legends kind of taking a beating like that?
Yeah, I felt especially not too much with Leonard because Leonard he was 40. I mean, I was thinking more about Larry Holmes when he fought Mike Tyson.
You felt bad.
Yeah, I felt because he was really all over the ring. If he got knocked down, he got up. Tyson was after him, and he was going all over the ring. I got criticized for not stopping it sooner than what I did. I think
Yeah,
how to get the chance because he's a
pull the
veteran.
plug.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta pull the plug, man.
Yeah, no. But sometimes people say, Joe, you could have stopped it sooner. Well, if I would have stopped it, it was, hey, come on, are you favoring Mike Tyson? So I'd rather just say, he's a veteran, he's not a beginner. He's been around. I think he may be able to get to weather the storm in this round, and the round was probably close to an end. So I think I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but he ended up getting knocked down again. Then I just waved it off. I didn't even bother to count.
Yeah, I know he was done there. Were there any fights that you were really surprised by? For example, like Prince Nassim lost, and I think a lot of people maybe thought he would win. Are there any of the big upsets that really shocked you that you could think of?
Well, not shocked, but
Chavez,
when he fought Whitaker, a lot of people felt that Chavez didn't win that fight. And it was a competitive fight, and me, as a referee, when I'm working as a ref, only as a ref, not as a judge, I got to focus on enforcing the rules. And I can't really see a lot of things that are going on. I wasn't really scoring until I got home. I sat down, I started watching on TV, because now I'm more relaxed. I can see everything that went on. And it could have went the other way.
Yeah, so yeah, I thought that Whitaker beat him pretty easily.
Well, let me tell you, it was a competitive fight. Julio Cesar Chavez, one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. I mean, he won one fight I always respected. And I believe he's fighting this weekend. He's doing an exhibition with Hector Camacho Jr.
Yeah, we spoke with Camacho. We had him on the show.
Okay.
I wonder how that's going to go, because Chavez looks like he's still pretty decent, even though he's 58.
Yeah, no, he's decent. Look at Tyson when he fought the other day against Roy Jones Jr. I mean, look at Joe Cortez. He's coming back.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine me coming back as a referee? I mean, I know I can still do it, but I would never do that. You retire, stay retired. You don't have to be coming back.
So I guess in closing, the very last question I have is, why did you retire? Why didn't you keep going?
You know what? I was 35 years into the game. I had gotten inducted. What really did it was when I got inducted into, I've been inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame, the World Boxing Hall of Fame, and the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. But when I got inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame up in Canastota, New York, that's when I felt that, man, I got inducted in 2011. I said to myself, I've been in here 34 years. I told my family members, I think I'm going to go out when I get 35 years in there. And I think I had enough, because I think that last year, I believe I did like 6 world title fight last year. And I said, you know what? I went out with a big one. Canelo Alvarez was a big one. Was it Cito Lopez? I think the big one. This is in November 2012. I said, you know what? I told the ring announcer, I said, listen, you can announce tonight is my last night. Officially, I'm retiring. They said, what? I went to the commission first and told them, hey guys, not for nothing. I love it here, but I'm retiring from boxing tonight. Is my last fight.
Were you planning that? That just hit you that night? You were like,
no. I was planning there a couple of days. It was kind of hard to make that decision because it was so close. But I made that decision. It was really close to that fight. But I felt, I had enough. I got to go on with my life. I got other things I want to accomplish. Like right now, like I feel, right now, I will keep going forward. Right now, I'm still involved with the commission, the Boxing Athletic Commission. I'm a review official. As a review official, what I do is, if there's a fighter who gets hit with a punch and the referee called it a slip, I'll put up a yellow, I'll say I got the ring apron. I'm supervised as a referee, a uniform, part of the team. I'll put up a yellow light on the apron, and the referee sees it, and my yellow light goes up, and the yellow light on the other side of the ring and the timekeeper, you simultaneously go up. And what we do is we call time, and the referee will tell, hey, that punch was a scored out or knocked out. And the referee will not question me on it, because I watch it at instant replay. And when we do that, we reverse his call, and making sure the judges score it right on the scorecard. We want to see the right guy win.
Right.
You know, not that we make a human error. It's human error, but that's what we're there for. And now we're making it better for the sport.
So you're doing that now.
I'm doing that now, yes, sir.
And do all the fights have that?
No.
Oh.
No, but you're going to see from now on here in Nevada, you'll see Jay Nady and myself will be doing the instant replay.
That's great.
That's what we came up with about a year ago, and we decided to adopt it to our rules. And now we have it all set up where we study it every time. It's a little thing that adjustment we got to make here and there. Look, it took football, NFL, like 25 years or more before they got it down to where they got it today. We just started it, and ESPN gave us some compliments the other day where I made a call, and I called a slip, a knockdown, and the referee reversed it right away. It only took me 15 seconds to do it, and they were very pleased with the way we did it. We didn't take a long time. 15 seconds all it took.
Great.
So we're in the right place at the right time here, the boxing capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah. Well, growing up watching all the boxing, I feel like as those fights are a part of my upbringing and my childhood, so are you, because when I see you, it just reminds me of all of those fights. So it was an honor talking to you, because you truly are, I guess, part of my childhood, and through boxing, because you really, guys like you and Mercanti are really a permanent fixture in boxing and are close to us, just as close as a lot of these legendary fights are. So we appreciate you talking to us, really do.
Well, I really appreciate it. I thank God every day for giving me a chance to be back again with my fans and my loved ones, and hopefully things will be better in the very near future. I'm hoping for the best for everybody. This pandemic has been terrible, and I offer my condolences for all of you who lost loved ones and friends. But we're coming back. We're coming back stronger than ever. Okay?
Yes, we are. Thank you very much for your time and your effort. We appreciate it. We will talk to you again soon.
Do it again soon.
Jeremy, keep your guards up at all time.
Bye.
I'm firm. Touch him up.
Take care.
Thank you.